Just then, Miss Coco walked in. Her red lipstick shone as she stepped in with a bucket and mop. "Wow, our new girl," she said warmly. "Welcome to Dormitory 6. Her eyes scanned Sarah from head to toe, lingering too long on her face. Sarah forced a smile. "Good evening, Ma." Miss Coco's eyes glittered. "Let me help you," she offered, bending over Sarah's provisions. One by one, she began to arrange them neatly into the cupboard. Her biscuits, her tin of milk, and every other item Sarah had come with. Sarah stood frozen. Something in her heart warned her not to let this woman touch her things, yet she could not speak. The three girls sat on their beds, watching quietly, their eyes following every move. When Miss Coco saw Sarah's Bible, she paused for a second. Her smile almost disappeared, and she muttered under her breath. She left the remaining items for Sarah to arrange, telling her she can take it from there. Sarah felt it. A cold wind brushed her skin. She didn't know why, but the air in that room suddenly smelled different, like smoke from a strange fire. "Don't worry, Sarah," Mrs. Coco said softly, standing upright. "You'll enjoy Dormitory 6. You'll enjoy it very much." Her words sounded like a promise or a threat. Sarah could not tell. That night, as she lay on her new bed, Sarah turned from side to side, unable to sleep. The three girls whispered to each other, sometimes giggling, but every time Sarah closed her eyes, she felt like someone was standing over her, watching. Outside, the night wind carried laughter from far away, laughter that did not belong to any student. Miss Coco was patient. She did not rush after Sarah. Something about the girl was different. Every time she came close, she felt a strong force, like an unseen wall pushing her back. She studied her carefully. She noticed Sarah prayed quietly before meals. She noticed how the girl sometimes hummed songs of worship while arranging her bed. Miss Coco's sharp eyes saw all this and it disturbed her. "She is covered," Miss Coco whispered to herself one morning while sweeping. "But I will break it. I must break it." Far away in their beautiful home, the Martins family could not stop thinking of Sarah. Her mother sometimes cried in the kitchen, missing her only daughter. Her father prayed longer than before, pacing the sitting room at night. No day passed without them calling Sarah's name before God. 2 weeks went by, then one afternoon, without sending a letter, they decided to visit their daughter at Maydem High School. The sun was high when they walked through the gates. They asked after her and were directed to the refectory, where the students were eating lunch. Inside, the noise was loud with laughter, plates clattering, and spoons hitting trays. The smell of jollof rice and fried meat filled the air. The Martins stepped inside quietly, their eyes searched for Sarah. But what they saw first froze them in place. At a corner table, a student was chewing meat. To everyone else, it looked normal, but to Mr. and Mrs. Martin's eyes, it was terrifying. The girl's eyes glowed in a scary way. Mr. Martins held his wife's hand tightly. She gasped softly, covering her mouth. "What is this?" she whispered. No, Mr. Martins muttered under his breath. "This little girl, something is wrong in this place." That same day, Miss Coco had volunteered to help serve food in the kitchen. She stood at the back of the refectory watching. When her eyes caught the Martins staring, her red lips pressed into a thin line. She felt their presence was strong, too strong, but she also felt anger. "They will not stop me," she swore silently. Then Sarah noticed her parents. "Daddy! Mommy!" she cried happily. She quickly swallowed the last of her rice, dropped her spoon, and rushed to their side. Her face shone with joy as she hugged them tightly. The Martins smiled, forcing away their fear. Together, they walked out and sat under a big mango tree in the school compound. Sarah kept talking, telling them about her hostel, her classes, her new friends. But Mr. Martins kept staring at her face, holding her hands firmly. When she paused, he said gently, "My daughter, listen to me. Keep praying. Never stop. Do you hear me? Yes, Daddy, Sarah nodded. He repeated, never joke with prayer. Pray hard, Sarah. Always. Sarah agreed again, though she didn't understand why he was so serious. From a distance, Miss Coco stood with her mop in her hand, her red lips trembling in anger. She could feel their prayerful presence like fire in her skin. She turned away quickly, hissing under her breath. That same day, the Martins decided to see the headmistress. Mr. Folabi welcomed them warmly into her office. She stood with her cane beside her chair, smiling as they thanked her for the good work in the school. But in his heart, Mr. Martins was restless. He wanted to speak about what he saw in the refectory, but a voice inside whispered, "Who will believe you?" So he remained quiet. Instead, they simply prayed with her and thanked her, then they left. As they walked out of the office, Mr. Martin's jaw tightened. He knew deep inside that a battle had already started in Maydem High, and their daughter was at the center of it. That night, when the moon was full and the forest was dark, the coven gathered again. Around the burning clay pots, the witches sat in a circle. Their faces were painted, their laughter sharp and frightening. The Queen Mother sat high on her wooden throne. Smoke rose from the pot in front of her, red and green flames dancing inside it. One by one, the women gave their reports of evil deeds done during the week. But when it came to Miss Coco's turn, the hall grew quiet. She stepped forward slowly, bowing low, but her face was not happy. "Mother," she said, her voice trembling, "there is a problem." The Queen Mother narrowed her eyes. "Problem? Speak, daughter." Miss Coco swallowed hard. The new girl in dormitory 6. Her name is Sarah. I have studied her for 2 weeks, but I cannot touch her. There is a force covering her, a fire that surrounds her. Whenever I come close, it burns me. The witches hissed, whispering to one another. The Queen Mother's eyes flashed. "What kind of fire?" Miss Coco shook her head. "I do not understand it. Her parents came to the school. Their presence was strong. I felt it like arrows piercing my skin. Even in the refectory today, I could not move freely. Mother, their power is blocking me." The women burst into loud laughter, mocking her. One shouted, "How could you be afraid of a little girl?" Another said, "Or are you losing your gift, Coco?" Miss Coco's hands shook with anger. "I am not weak," she cried. "But this child is not like the others. She is different. Even her Bible, the moment I saw it, I felt fire." The Queen Mother lifted her hand and the whole coven went silent. There are some children who are born with covering. Some are shielded by the prayers of their family. This one smells of altar fire. The witches hissed again, some in fear, some in anger. Miss Coco fell to her knees. "What shall I do, Mother? If I cannot touch her, how can we use her?" The Queen Mother leaned closer to the clay pot, her eyes glowing in the firelight. "You must be patient. Do not rush. Her covering is strong now, but if we distract her, weaken her, make her forget her prayers, the fire will go down. Then she will be like the others. She will be ours." The witches clapped and laughed in agreement. But the Queen Mother added, her voice sharp, "If you fail, Coco, we will turn on you. Do not disappoint us." Miss Coco bowed her head. Sweat rolled down her neck. "I will not fail, Mother. I will wait. I will watch. And when the fire weakens, I will strike." The fire in the clay pot rolled high, lighting up the coven with shadows dancing on every wall. And far away in dormitory 6, Sarah turned in her sleep, clutching her Bible tightly to her chest. She didn't know that the battle for her soul had already begun. One morning in the hostel, Sarah was busy dressing for class when one of the 3 girls, Chiamaka, came close with a big smile. "Sarah, let's go to class together today," she said. Sarah was a little surprised. Chiamaka had never been this friendly before, but she smiled back. Okay, no problem. From that day, Chiamaka changed. Every morning, she would wait for Sarah so they could walk together. During break, she would share food with her. In the evening, she would sit beside her to read. Very soon, the whole class noticed their friendship. They began to refer Chiamaka as Sarah's best friend. But the truth was different. At night, after prep, Chiamaka would always come to Sarah's bed. They would sit, talk, and read until their eyes felt heavy. By the time they stopped, both of them were already too sleepy. Sarah would just lie down and sleep off without praying. The first time, Sarah told herself, I'll pray tomorrow. The next day, she said, God understands, I'm just tired. Before long, it became a habit for Sarah. Sarah didn't know she was slowly opening a door, but Miss Coco had already begun to notice. As she cleaned the dormitory one evening, she watched Sarah lie down without praying. She saw Chiamaka slip back to her bed. With a strange smile, Miss Coco folded her arms and whispered, Good. Her fire is going down. Just a little more, and she will be ours. That night, in the coven, the Queen Mother smiled over the burning clay pot. Sarah had no idea that the friendship she was enjoying was just the beginning of her battle. That same night, the hostel was quiet. The generator had gone off, and only the sound of crickets filled the air. One by one, the girls in dormitory 6 fell asleep. Sarah lay on her bed, too tired to pray again. Her Bible was under her pillow, but she told herself, tomorrow I will do better. Soon she was fast asleep. But outside, something was moving. In the darkness of the compound, a black cat crept along the path. Its eyes glowed like 2 red lights. Quietly, it made its way through the door of dormitory 6. It moved slowly between the beds, its tail brushing the floor. Its eyes were fixed on Sarah. The other girls turned in their sleep, unaware that something strange was happening. The cat climbed onto Sarah's bed, sat on her chest, and began to whisper strange words, trying to pull Sarah's spirit out of her body. At first, Sarah's body shook lightly. Her breath grew heavier. It looked as if she was about to die in her sleep. But suddenly, something happened. The Bible under her pillow grew hot. A flash of light filled the room, too quick for the other girls to notice. The cat jumped back, hissing. The fire her parents had prayed into her life was still burning, even though Sarah herself had grown weak. It tried again, pressing its paws harder on Sarah's chest. Sarah groaned, turning in her sleep, but the fire burned hotter. This time, the cat fell off the bed with a thud. Its true form appeared. It was Miss Coco. Quickly, she fled from the dormitory, vanishing into the night. Sarah opened her eyes, sweating. She didn't fully understand what had happened. She only felt as if something heavy had just left her chest. She sat up, touched her pillow, and pulled out her Bible. For the first time in days, she knelt down. With a trembling voice, she prayed, Lord, please keep me. I don't even know what's going on, but don't let me fall into any trap. She didn't know that her simple prayer had shaken the entire coven that night. Far away, the Queen Mother's clay pot cracked with a loud sound. The witches gasped in fear. The battle line had been drawn. That night, when Miss Coco rushed back to the coven, the Queen Mother was already waiting. Her face was dark with anger. The clay pot in the middle of the shrine was cracked. Smoke was rising from it. You failed, the Queen Mother shouted. How dare you let the fire of that girl push you back? Miss Coco fell on her knees, trembling. I tried, my queen. I tried. But before she could finish, the Queen Mother raised her hand. A strange fire leaped from the cracked spot and covered Miss Coco's body. She screamed as her flesh burned spiritually, though no one could see the marks on her skin. You will carry this shame, the Queen Mother said coldly, and because of your failure, the price must be paid. At that same moment in dormitory 6, the 4 girls whose spirit had already been taken never opened their eyes again. Their bodies laid lifeless on their beds as though they were still sleeping. The next morning, there were screams in the hostel. Students ran out shouting, "4 girls are not waking up." The headmistress rushed in with her cane. Her heart pounded. When she saw the lifeless girls, her legs shook. She had always suspected something evil was hiding in her school, and now her fear had come true. As the panic spread, a teacher went to check Miss Coco's room. What she found there was even more shocking. On the bed, instead of the young Miss Coco everyone knew, there lay an old wrinkled woman. Her breathing was slow and heavy, her skin dry like she had aged 100 years overnight. "Jesus Christ!" she shouted in fear and shock. The news spread quickly. The headmistress gathered the staff and students outside. No one could speak. The truth was clear. Miss Coco was not an ordinary woman. She was a witch. Parents of the dead girls were called. When they arrived, the school compound was full of wailing and sorrow. Mothers held their daughters' lifeless bodies and cried until their voices cracked. Fathers stood in silence. Their faces were full of pain. As the headmistress, some students and staffs gathered outside Miss Coco's door whispering, something even stranger happened. Her body began to fade. The old wrinkled woman that lay on the bed started to sink slowly into the mattress. Her skin turned gray like ashes. Her breath grew weaker until there was nothing left. Only her clothes remained on the bed. Everyone who saw it shivered. They had no more doubts Miss Coco was gone, swallowed by the powers she had served. Meanwhile, the 4 lifeless girls were carried out, and one of them was Chiamaka, the same girl who had pretended to be Sarah's friend, keeping her busy so she would not pray. When Sarah saw this, her chest was heavy. She could not stop the tears. She sat on her bed, shaking, remembering all the nights Chiamaka had smiled at her, sat beside her, and told her stories. To think she had died in such a way made Sarah's heart heavy with fear and sadness. Soon after, Sarah's parents arrived. They rushed to their daughter and hugged her tightly. They didn't ask too many questions. They could see the fear in her eyes. Together, the 3 of them held hands under the mango tree in the compound. They prayed quietly, tears rolling down their faces. They didn't have all the answers, but they knew one thing: God had saved their daughter. That same day, they took her home. The school closed down for months. After a long while, when they reopened, most parents withdrew their children. Sarah never went back. Her parents refused. They would rather lose money than lose their only child. Medam High School, that was once the pride of Njami, was no longer the dream of every parent. It became a place people spoke about in whispers, a school forever marked by what happened in dormitory 6. Moral of the story: sometimes the enemy comes in silence, through friends, through distractions, through the small things that make us too tired to pray. Sarah's story shows us something many people forget. The moment your fire of prayer begins to go down, you become an open target. Evil is always watching, always waiting for that weak moment. But just as Sarah was covered by the prayers of her parents, we too must learn never to joke with prayer. The truth is this: your prayer today is a shield that might save you tomorrow. The world we live in is a battlefield. The battles may be hidden, but they are real. When you refuse to pray, you are walking without armor. But when you stay close to God, you carry a fire the enemy cannot touch. So don't let your fire go down. Don't let distractions steal your prayer. Life will give you many excuses to pray tomorrow, but tomorrow may be too late. Stay watchful, stay prayerful, because when the enemy comes in the night, only those who carry fire will still be standing in the morning. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you learned something from it, please give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel and share with your loved ones. By doing this, you encourage us to tell more interesting stories like this. Thank you so much for watching. Till we meet again, besties, stay safe and remain blessed.